just after we have them. Okay, so do you want the other one to go first and then? Yeah. Okay. I just saw her because she just asked a question. Miss Levy? That's true. So, yeah, so theirs is going to be, their colleagues aren't here, so do you want to read your original song? Oh, okay. All right. Apologize about the delay. Come on up. And I'll let each of them introduce themselves so I can get off the stage and they can talk.
Hello. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you and sorry for the delay. We were just running around getting things sorted for the presentation. So, everyone, it's a pleasure to welcome you all at this important panel discussion in which we'll talk about promoting literacy in Africa, the challenges and opportunities. My name is Rizma, and I'm one of the co-founders and COO for 1 Million Teachers. And I have some amazing panelists with me today. I'll be introducing them shortly. Now, literacy is a fundamental human right, yet millions of children and adults in Africa are struggling with limited access to quality education. Today, I'm joined by 3 incredible experts who are actively working to transform literacy education and empower communities on a global level, and especially across sub-Saharan Africa. Our discussion will explore the challenges they have encountered, the innovative approaches they have embedded, and the opportunity and collaboration in the space. I'll go ahead and start introducing each and every person on the panel. First off, I have Hakeem Subair, who's also the co-founder and the current CEO of 1 Million Teachers. It is an organization which works with teachers in under-resourced communities in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Currently, we are in 20+ countries with over 75,000 teachers on our platform. We work on pedagogy, soft skills, and professional development of teachers. He has pioneered initiatives like the Black Belt program, which he'll be talking about, and the One Empty Village. He has integrated education with community development. His work has also earned him global recognition, including the 2024 African Education Medal finalist position. And in 2025, he also got the Influential Leader Award as well in AACSB. Then on my right, I have Rasheedat Sadiq. She is an educator, a literacy advocate, and certified instructional coach. She runs an organization called the Mobile Reading Room, a mobile library that provides children in underserved areas with books and literacy support. She is also a published author and public speaker. She's very passionate about storytelling and education reform, and a very, very valuable member of 1 Million Teachers. Lastly, I have Ms. Fatima, who is the director of Black Belt at 1 Million Teachers, an educational consultant with extensive experience in both Nigeria and UK. She has led major literacy initiatives, including projects in partnership with UNICEF, and is deeply committed in preserving African languages through translation work and digital literacy programs. Now, we're going to dive into our panel discussion. We'll start off with challenges, talking about opportunities and innovation. I'll actually give the first question to Hakeem and ask him that, Hakeem, 1 million teachers has worked extensively across Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa. What are some of the biggest challenges you have encountered in promoting literacy, and how has your organization addressed them?
Good morning, everybody. What a great pleasure to be here. It's been an amazing experience for myself and the team. So before I respond to your question, Rizma, there is a slide. I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, yes. We just wanted to give you some snapshot about the work that we do at 1 million teachers. We are on a mission. The name is also the objective. So by 2030, we want to have trained 1 million teachers. Right now, Rizma, we're about 80,000 educators across mainly sub-Saharan Africa, with a few in places like India and Pakistan. But the mission is really recognizing that teachers are significant to learning, and that it is a multiplier. When you support educators, you support them to be empowered, then you can help more kids. So, I mean, anybody could be involved in any aspect of learning, but we chose teachers, given that we strongly believe that there's a lot of leverage in that. And so that's the mission we set out for ourselves. Rizma, you talked about the Black Belt program, which is, Fatima would elaborate on that soon. But we wanted to not just train teachers. If you look at this, what I have on the screen right now, this is what we call the three-pronged approach to what we do. First of all, we have a huge shortage, not just of quality, but of quantity. And then we wanted to ensure that we attract new teachers into the profession, particularly focusing on the most under-resourced communities around the world, places that they are most needed. Most of the places where we work are places where most people can find on the map that we support educators. But more importantly is the fact that they not only need the training, is the fact that they need to be motivated. We work in many situations where teachers earn less than $50. And for a lot of people, particularly from the global north, it's very difficult to wrap your head around somebody with a family of 5, family of 6, and they're living, and that's the income, the household income. So those are the kind of educators that we go out to look for and to empower. So over time, we've gone through various iterations. Then we now have what we call the flagship program that we run, which is the Black Belt program. Essentially, we organized these courses around, similar to karate. So the courses are organized around the belt that you see. So as you achieve the courses, say within white belt, it unlocks the next stage, which is yellow belt, and then you do the courses, and then and so on and so forth until you become black belt. So that's really it, but the focus is really about empowerment. So after all of this training, what do you do next? How does the knowledge that you've gained translate into a difference in the classroom for the benefit of the kids? And that's really where we spend the bulk of our energy. Obviously, if you want to train 1 million people, you're not going to have, there's no enough classrooms anywhere that can train 1 million people, so you obviously have to leverage technology. But we put a lot of our effort on the black belts, and then that's where the journey really begins. So we have all kinds of mentorship programs. We provide opportunities for the teachers.
Hello and welcome to this brief walkthrough of...
Sorry, I don't think we have time. We can skip any video. Yeah, okay, thank you. So while they're showing this, just to give you a brief. So Rasheedat is here, and she represents the picture of what we want an educator to be. And over time, she's evolved from becoming a black belt to become the literacy champion that she is right now. She's very well sought after. We have partnership with various organizations, but she embodies everything about literacy. I don't want to steal from her thunder. I would like her to speak for herself. Rizma, I would like to go back to your question after Rasheedat, and then we can address that together, if you'll allow me.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so I thought you were going to ask me my own question. So if I can just start from where he stopped. 1 Million Teachers is really about empowerment, and they've empowered a lot of us. So I'm going to be answering the question indirectly about how 1 Million Teachers is involved in literacy in Africa. So they've trained all of us, and the 1 Million Teachers training, the belts, it's about general pedagogy. But what it does is like it lights a fire in every one of us as black belts to seek our passion, to seek the niche in education where we want to make a difference. And for me, it was about literacy. I've always loved reading. Even before I became a black belt, I had something on Instagram called Reading with Dr. S, and that's just my nickname and everything. But this made me realize that I could do so much more. And I started to dream about having a mobile library, because part of the problems that we have in sub-Saharan Africa and Nigeria specifically is about access. Where are the books the children are going to read? We don't have those books. We barely have textbooks, not to talk about those fun fiction and non-fiction that we need to expand our horizon. So I wanted to be that person to take the books to the communities. And 1 Million Teachers was able to empower me, because in partnership with what we call the HHS2, sorry, I'm getting the name wrong, SDG Challenge, basically, MS2, HHMS2 SDG Challenge. They organized an incubator program for those of us that had different projects. And I was one of those that had a literacy-based project. So we were 3 in my cohort out of 10 that had literacy projects. So there was me, there was Amina Dyslexic Foundation, and the workbook, which was also about literacy. And they were able to train all 3 of us. We were the first cohort, and there have been many cohorts after that, and other programs that have come after that on how we can run our projects effectively. And after that, we also got an accelerator program that was able to help us to scale up from the initial pilot. And now, 4 years down the line, I'm very happy that my project, the Mobile Reading Room, is in a place where it's comfortable enough for me to share a lot of things I've learned and for me to be here at Oxford. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Rasheedat. So I'll actually circle back and ask you a question, which is regarding the struggle. So we all know that you've been working with children in underserved areas. So let us know about what are the most significant barriers to literacy access that you have observed, and what solutions have worked best in your experience?
Okay, thank you very much. So the first barrier I had started with was access to books. We have a dearth of availability of books that the children need. We don't have the books because printing of books are really expensive. These are communities where people they earn less than $1 a day. So they're not going to use their hard-earned income to buy books. There's that. So part of the solution is what my project decided to do: have books, collect books, take it to them, give them the opportunity to read the books, read with them, give them the opportunity to borrow books. So in some of the communities, we do that. We allow them to borrow the books, and next time we come back, we get it back. In some other communities, we are not able to give them the books to take away because of the way the community is structured. The books are not going to come back. So we just allow them to read the book, feel the book, just enjoy what a book is all about. And we believe we're sowing a seed for the future in those children. So that's access, the problem of access, and how we're trying to, overcome that. There's also the challenge of poverty. So even in some of the communities I go to, I have some children that come in maybe 1 week and the next week, and then the next time I ask of the child, and the child isn't coming because the parents need that child to earn for them. So the child is either in an apprenticeship, has dropped out of school, or is going to school but cannot come to these extra programs because that's the time they're helping their parents to sell whatever it is they're selling or to make whatever it is that the parents are going to sell. So we do have a lot of that affecting us. Another key challenge that I saw was a challenge in comprehension. So a lot of the places where we went to, where the idea was just to give them the books, let them read and enjoy, we actually had a number of them not being able to read. That's one aspect. And then those that could read were stuck at literal comprehension. They couldn't go on to inferencing. They couldn't really make connections with the books. They didn't know what, drawing conclusions. So when I ask for predictions, they're just looking at me blank. But after some time, when we work together, I see them able to draw conclusions, able to make connections, able to relate the books we're reading to their lives. So that is one issue, and I think it's 1 and 2 because it's an issue of teacher training also. The teachers that are training them are stuck in the old method that one of the speakers on the stage just spoke about, that didactic method, that choral reading, that repetition. So the phonics and the other aspects of what reading comprehension is just now floating into our spaces, and many of the teachers don't even have that, but luckily we're able to share that with the children. So when we go to communities, we start in some communities with decoding, like we're at the phonics level, the phonemic awareness level, and all of that. So there's that challenge of teacher training, there's that challenge of comprehension. So we try to meet those, we try to train the volunteers that come to us on phonics, on how to support the children. That's one other aspect. I think the final challenge that may not be within my reach is the challenge of books that are relevant to us. So I'll give an example. Most of the books that I share are secondhand books that I buy or people donate to us, and most of them are foreign books. But we want books that these children can see and relate to. So if I'm sharing a book about winter and they cannot relate to winter, it's not touching the same way. But if I'm sharing a book about a drought and they've experienced the drought, that's what books are supposed to do for us. So we still have those challenges of having books that are written by Africans for Africans. Some of the books are there, but the costs of those books is the issue for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rasheedat, for giving us all the insights about the barriers and the problems you're facing and for the amazing work you've been doing. Which actually brings me to the government policies and infrastructure. I know Hakeem touched about the work we do in literacy as 1 million teachers and the amazing teachers we're empowering like Rasheedat to actually do something in their communities. Let's talk about some of the governmental policies and infrastructures, how they play a big role in literacy initiatives. So Fatima, my question is, can you share your perspective on how policies have either facilitated or hindered the literacy programs? How can an organization like yours effectively engage with policymakers?
Right, thank you, Rizma. Is this working? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay. Right, thank you, Rizma. The Nigerian Education Department in 2023 introduced a new national reading framework, and this has been a really important development because for the first time they collaborated with different NGOs and organizations and listened that we don't learn letter names anymore. It's more about the phonological reading, and this has really changed the way reading, but it only happened 2 years ago, so it's still in the process. I had the opportunity to work on a GPE UNICEF project in northwestern Nigeria about 4 years ago, and one of the first things I did when I was asked to write a literacy workbook was to use the local phonological alphabet. So I would say as in, and I would use a Hausa word to explain it. So I actually compiled something at the beginning of the book that showed them the link between the way they say words and the way we say it in English. And I am very passionate about learning African languages as well. And coming back to what Rasheedat said, with the books that relate to our own environment, our own culture. I've recently been working with an organization called NABU. I think they are also presenting at this event, and they're working on translating English books into traditional African languages. And I was challenged with doing a translation from English to Yoruba. I have a YouTube channel where I teach children in diaspora who want to learn Yoruba. And when I got those books, I was I was flabbergasted. How? I've never thought about technological words and scientific words. I've only thought about basic things on how to say good morning, good afternoon, how are you, 1 to 5. So this was a big door, but a big opportunity to me to start thinking about what about the books that reflect our culture and how we do things, and something that the children can relate to. This is very important in literacy. And literacy is not only about English, it can be about Yoruba, it can be about Hausa, it can be about Igbo. And this is what I like about 1 Million Teachers and the collaboration with organizations like NABU, and allowing you to grow as a teacher and believe in yourself as a teacher. What do you have to offer as a teacher to your community? How are you going to make a difference and empower the next generation? You're not just a teacher. You're not just there to regurgitate information. You are a transformative agent. And we call Mr. Hakeem a social innovator because he comes up with brilliant ideas of how to move the whole community. And that project that I did with UNICEF and GPE was the best time of my life. Even though I was born in the UK, I've worked in the UK, I went to Nigeria as an expatriate teacher, and that's when I met 1 Million Teachers. But going back into my community and seeing those children in, in those communities, coming from the UK, coming from my posh private school in Abuja, to going to those villages in Sokoto, in Zamfara, in Kebbi, something I'll never forget. And the impact is still there. I still get people 4 years on, 5 years on, they still remember me, the volunteer teachers that we trained. So we had to go in there and create. They don't have a mobile phone. Okay, maybe you can meet up. There's COVID, there's insecurities. People thought, Fatima, are you crazy? You're going to Sokoto, you're going to Zamfara. What are you doing there? You're not even Hausa, you're Yoruba. Why are you going there? But I just felt so empowered because of what Mr. Hakeem going through the Black Belt program. And it's just what we want teachers to be. We want to see passionate teachers. We want to see teachers with a growth mindset. It's beyond just teaching for the sake of teaching. It's teaching because you have a mission, because you're passionate about it, because you believe you can make a difference. And I've forgotten what Rizma asked me now, but the government policy. So the government policies are there. It's just that, how are they being implemented? The government are trying. They've introduced reading policies, but the people on the ground level, how are they translating that and putting that into action? And as an organization, 1 Million Teachers, we're informing teachers that you can do that and you can even do better. And this is how we can move society. You don't need to have a gun or a power or money, but just connecting with these children and believing in them and making them believe in themselves that they can make a difference. That is how we're going to unlock the potential in the next generation. So.
Wow, amazing, Fatma.
Thank you.
Yes, so Hakeem would like to add something, so go on, Hakeem.
So, when you and Rasheedat spoke, I just remembered some of the challenges that we had early on. We soon discovered that a lot of the teachers couldn't even achieve basic numeracy, basic literacy. I'm talking about at grade 4 level, and the bulk of these people were folks were entrusted to take care of children. And we quickly went back to the drawing board that can we create some kind of literacy program, basic numeracy program. And when, Fatima, you talked about the partnership with NABU, that's kind of what's really attracted us to NABU, that, oh, you guys are already doing something like this. Is it possible to create a whole cohort of teachers who are already black belt, but they are literacy champion? Yes, Rasheedat is probably the best known of the lot. She's been all over the place talking about this and doing this work in various communities. But now we have like a growing army of such teachers who recognize the power of literacy, how fundamental it is. Today on the trainer, we're talking about how literacy, it's maths. more or less, problem solving, all of those things, verbal reasoning. And it's so fundamental. And I'm really, really thrilled to be here. And when we heard about this program and we were invited to come speak, I thought we needed to bring champions of literacy, at least from Nigeria, to be part of this.
Thank you, Hakeem. I know we talked about collaboration, we talked about partnership, and I have a question from Hakeem, that collaboration is a key when it comes to literacy space. So walk us through and tell us, how has 1MT worked with other organizations to enhance literacy education, and what impact has it had so far?
Okay, so, we all talk about SDGs, SDG 4, SDG 2, fighting poverty, life on land, life on water, and all of that. But for us, one of the key pillars of the whole 1MT mission is SDG 17, which is a partnership for development. And early on, we saw the need to work with other people. There's a tendency for us to think that whatever solutions we have, can solve the multidimensional. In fact, within our space, we talk about wicked problems. Literacy is a wicked problem, among many other problems. So we, early on, we have a partnership with Queen's University, the Faculty of Education in Canada. They are a big strategic partner. They bring research rigor into what we do. They helped us with the design and development of our program framework, as well as content creation. We've worked with UNESCO. We worked with UNICEF. In fact, the program that Fatima mentioned, it was a collaboration between 1MT, 1 Million Teachers, the federal government of Nigeria, the Global Partnership for Education. And the interesting thing was that we insisted that the teachers who were going to be part of that program would have to have been 1MT Black Belt. So that's really a way to empower them. So we've always been about collaboration, particularly with organizations that they're able to further help us advance our cause. I think when it comes to literacy, the biggest one is with NABU. We also work with Girl Rising, for example. We saw early on where, in most of the jurisdiction where we work, at the very basic level, you see more women in the classroom. But as you go up the ladder, you begin to see less representation. And we challenged ourselves that, we're going to fight as best as we can to ensure that women leaders begin to come up through this Black Belt program. And that's also part of what's kind of enabled our collaboration with Girl Rising. So we have a whole program with Girl Rising, the Girl Rising Gender Responsive Education and the Parental Guidance, because we wanted these girls who are traditionally deprived from coming into the classroom in many communities to see themselves in there's representation in the teachers. So we're very big on collaboration. I don't think anybody should try to do any kind of work like this alone. There's always synergies to be found with various organizations and individuals. In fact, we challenge our Black Belts to go create something like what Rasheedat started with the reading room, where she goes into, and then we always make sure that we're collaborating, further extending the work that we're doing.
Thank you, Hakeem. And I would actually proudly say that we have more women representation in 1 Million Teachers than men on our platform. So we have more females becoming Black Belts. So we talked about partnership, we talked about collaboration, we talked about the government policies. So Rasheedat, I have a question about community engagement. And that's a big key backbone of literacy programs. So let's talk about the role of parents, the community leaders, and local organizations. So how do you think they help in sustaining literacy effects in the community?
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to be a bit like Hakeem and pause my question just to tell you a little bit more about what he was talking about on partnerships. So with NABU, we actually have on our platform a read aloud training. And that's such a beautiful thing, because that was what I used to have to go into the communities and train the volunteers on how we're going to do the read alouds, how we're going to make sure they get the comprehension and everything. But the online training makes it easier for us. So we can even have the volunteers go through the NABU training before they come to join us, and it puts us on a good footing to start. We also have collaboration with HP, which really improves us as in form of our digital literacy, and we have access to some of their other many things that HP has to offer. So regarding community is really important. And I will tell a little bit of a story regarding my project. So when I had gotten my project, I had everything, my theory of change, my sustainability, my projected outcomes. I had gone through the incubator, I was ready. I had to find communities, and then it seemed they didn't exist. Because I kept going to some places, and there were roadblocks. Some places I couldn't even get who to talk to. I went to schools. I said, okay, I'm going to start at the local primary schools. And all the head teachers kept telling me, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to take in private people to come. Some would say, well, we are allowed, but I'm not qualified to give you the go-ahead. You need to go to the local authority, or you need to go to the ministry, the Subair. And there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape around that. I don't know anybody at the Subair. So at a point, I was almost crying. I said, I have this thing to give communities for free, and I can't seem to find a community. I thought they would be struggling to have me. And they are, but I just didn't know how to go about it. So I kept telling people, I have this project, I don't know what to do. And then someone said, oh, I know a community leader. I'm going to introduce you to that community leader. We shared something from our mosque there. And they introduced me to the community leader. And the community leader linked me with a group of women. And I just had to sell the project to the women. And once the women had the buy-in, they brought the children. And it was, it wasn't so smooth as I'm saying it, but it was the community that made it happen. They had a lot of questions. They had a lot of queries. They even wanted me to add a few more things that was not part of my plan. I had to be, really strategic and say, okay, this is what we're offering for now. Or this is what I'm offering, but I may be able to get you somebody else that would offer the additional thing that you want. So community is key, and they're also key to the sustaining and sustainability of it. And because we want to scale our project across different communities, we need to empower those in the community. So we get volunteers from the communities, and we get community champions to help us carry on what we've sown and has grown to an extent, while we can start to plant the seed in other areas. So it is very important, and I've seen the power of the community. As at last year, I was so fortunate to be able to finally get into a school, and that too was through a community leader. The community leader spoke to the head of school, and interestingly, they didn't have to go to the Ministry of Education. So I don't know if that was just making me go around, or maybe they were afraid of something, but the place of the community is really key, and the buy-in of the community helps to sustain whatever project or initiatives we have going.
Amazing.
Yeah, I want to add to that, because we had to buy into the community. We had to go to the Commissioner for Education. And I remember the first time we had a guy, our logistics guy, we used to call him Mr. Fix-It, and he said, Hajia, they asked me for the snacks. I said, what do you mean snacks? Well, we've got something from UNICEF, from GPE. He said, if you don't buy the meat pies and Coke, they're not talking to you. So we had to go buy, we had to sit, before we could sit with them, we had to buy the snacks. But once we spoke to the Commissioner for Education, he could then speak to someone in the community, and I don't have that photo here where I was sitting in one of the palaces of one of the emirs, and I felt addressing them. So once you speak to the right people in the right places, they told us where we could set up our learning hubs. They advised us who to meet with. But there is a lot of bureaucracy, and there is a lot of red tape. And this is where the locals come in. You have to have a good connection, like Rasheedat said. You can't just show up and say, I'm from UNICEF, I've got a project. Say, who are you? You have to know who is who, and meet the right people in the right places, and they know who to connect you with, which community hall, which places you can go to, and know where to go, the right people at the right time. There were challenges, like you said, some children had to go to the farm to work, if it's harvest time, if it's Ramadan time, having translators to translate your language. So that link with the community is key. But once you buy into that and they like you, like I said, 4 years on, I'm still in touch with people from Kebbi and Zamfara and Sokoto that I would never have, but we made that link, we made that connection. They knew, and they still have the learning hubs. Children are still learning literacy and numeracy, and it's even getting bigger. Maybe Hakeem has the statistics.
Sorry guys, we just have to cut it short. We're running out of time. Yeah, so last thing, Hakeem.
Yeah, but before I do that, I just wanted to give a different perspective to the concept of community. And this is something we talk about a lot, about wolves hunting in parks. We tell our teachers, you are in a school, you're a superstar, you're going to be shut down. You're an easy target. But we say, build a community within your school, within your larger community. And on various platforms, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all of that, we do have these teachers working together. In fact, we have what we call the Anchor School program, where a minimum of 20 teachers will become black belts, are learning together, are growing together. So that way, they energize themselves, and that's the power of community. The professional learning communities, as we talk about, I think, as a result of what we did in communities, a big governmental platform from one of the European countries put one of our community leaders to go run a similar community for an international program for them.
Thank you. So I would say thank you everybody for joining us for today's panel discussion. In the end, I would like to say literacy is not just about reading and writing, it's about empowerment, opportunities, and changing lives. That's what we're trying to do at 1 Million Teachers. Thank you so much for your presence, and thank you everyone on the panel for being present. Thanks.